Hou Yi, the archer who shot down 9 suns. There were 10 suns. That was the problem. Only one was ever meant to rise at a time. It was just another ordinary day. Then all 10 climbed into the sky together, and the world began to burn. The people were confused. Why is it so bright outside? Mom, why is it so hot? Everyone knew how the sky was supposed to work. 1 sun per day, 1 turn at a time. This was the order of the world. This balance is what governed seasons, harvests, and whether anything survived at all. But now, 10 enormous boom-baklat suns filled up the sky all at once. 10 big balls of fire crossed the heavens together, their light stacking until the sky lost all depth and color. There was no blue left in the sky, no clouds either. Just light. The world was getting toasty. Heat came down in heavy, unbroken waves that pressed down on the land. Night still came. The light faded a little, then came right back. The people looked up and counted. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 and 10. No one pretended it was normal. They just didn't know what else to do. So people went back to work. Farmers planted away, not because the conditions were good, but because stopping wouldn't help either. They knew the ground was too hot. But they still hoped it might somehow work and plants would sprout. It did not. Seeds dried out where they fell. Water vanished the moment it touched the soil. This isn't working, a farmer said quietly. I know, another replied. But what else can we do? Rivers started shrinking next. Wide channels thinned into shallow streams. Streams turned to mud. Mud baked into empty beds that held heat instead of water. Fishermen stood at their usual fishing spots, rods in hand, and stared at nothing. Where did the river go? Animals collapsed in the fields. Birds dropped out of the sky and hit the ground partially cooked. That's when people stopped trying to act normal. The suns were meant to rise one at a time. Everyone knew that. And now they weren't. One of the suns spoke. We don't want to raise one at a time anymore, Ka. At first, the heavens treated it as misbehavior. An act of youthful rebellion. Something the suns would burn out of. They did not. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. Entire villages emptied, not from war, not from plague, but from heat that was unbearably violent. Never mind the land, the people were literally shriveling up. They were beginning to look like your grandmother. Some people prayed harder, kneeling on ground that burned through cloth and skin. Dear God, can you please chillax on the heat? I am getting cooked, bruh. Some people tried offering sacrifices like farm animals, gold, and artifacts. But the sky did not listen. What are we supposed to do with this trash? The suns laughed. Others packed what they could carry and dipped, walking away from land that no longer remembered rain. The sky continued to stay bright. The people needed a miracle, a savior. And that was when a mysterious immortal was summoned. Climbing up the mountain, heaving and sweaty. Looking rather bummy and dirty. Holy. It is hot as balls. Hou Yi, the divine archer, and an immortal. Why was he divine? Because he never missed. This was the Steph Curry of heaven. His arrows did not bend in flight. Distance did not soften their impact. When he aimed, outcomes followed. The order he received from heaven was simple. Fix it, brah. Hou Yi was originally just roaming from place to place. He tried to make the most of the world in its current state. He tried fishing. Casting his makeshift rod into the river. Only to hear a thump. There was no water, the rivers had dried up. He tried to train. Lifting dumbbells made out of boulders. But it was too hot. So eventually he just found a tree to chill under. Just surviving the heat like everyone else. He stayed in the shade. Moved as little as possible. And conserved energy. Why is it so hot? He muttered, wiping sweat off his face. Even immortals get tired of being out in the sun. That's when heaven called. Hey Hou Yi. Hey, what's up? Look up for a second. Fix it. Hou Yi squinted up at the sky. Fix what part? No answer. No explanation. Just buzzing. The call had been cut. Heaven hung up. Hou Yi sighed. All right, he said, standing up. It is what it is. He grabbed his bow and set off. He found the highest peak in the world and started climbing. A few mountain goats stood along the rocks and watched him pass, chewing on dried up grass and panting in the heat. Even they were struggling. What? You guys got a problem? The goats hopped away. Hou Yi wiped sweat from his face. There should be snow by now. Did it all melt away? Higher up, the mountain peaks would usually be covered in snow and ice. But today, it was just dirt and rocks. The rocks were hot to the touch. The air didn't cool. Rather, it felt like a sauna, the higher he went. He stopped to catch his breath, hands on his knees. Gasping for air? When did this mountain get so high? Is it harder because it's hot? Now at the peak. He looked up. The 10 suns stared back. Wow! Someone climbed that tall mountain, anyways. The 10 suns. They were not distant lights. They were vast, living presences, radiating heat and awareness at the same time. Hou Yi asked, "Can you guys raise one at a time, please?" Heaven's orders. The suns, collectively, nah. Okay, I'd say nothing personal, but I'm tired of having sweaty butt cheeks. Hou Yi raised his bow. He lined up the shot and breathed in. It didn't look special. Just wood, string, and an arrow like any other. As the string pulled back, the air started to vibrate. Light warped. Heat collapsed inward. Time seemed to have slowed down, pressure building in his hands. Then he released. A sonic boom, then an arrow tearing a straight line of light that split the sky in half. It only took 0.067 seconds before it reached the first sun. Boom. One sun shattered and fell out of the sky. The heat eased slightly, not enough to bring relief, just enough for people to notice something had changed. People looked up. Then at each other. Boom baklat, the 10th sun just exploded. Was that supposed to happen? The people were confused, some hid in their homes, some dropped to their knees to pray, and some frozen in fear. But they all had one thing in common. They could not look away from the sky. Hou Yi waited. The remaining suns burned on. Oh hey, the 10th sun isn't there anymore. Anyways. Unmoved, unbothered. The suns did not care that one of them had been slimed. You guys really won't move? The suns, collectively, nah. Hou Yi sighed. He raised his bow and fired again. A second sun fell, its light collapsing into silence. Shadows came back. People looked down at their feet, surprised to see them again. Someone screamed. Someone else dropped to the ground. What the hell was that? Dear God, please forgive us. Someone saw that, right? The people were panicking, screaming, unsure. Someone shot down the sun. You saw that too, right? How is that even possible? The people started backing away from the open sky. Hiding under trees or huts. Like distance would help. Hou Yi lowered his bow. Damn it, he muttered. The remaining suns burned on. No reaction. No hesitation. One even yawned. 8 suns still blazing. The heat dropped a little, but it was still suffocating. Sweat still ran. Throats were still dry. On the ground, the noise got worse. Crying. Shouting. People arguing about where to run. Hou Yi shut his eyes for a moment. He rubbed his temples. If he stopped now, people could live their daily lives again. Not comfortably. Not easily. But alive. Fields would grow something. Water would last a little longer. Children would stop collapsing in the streets. It wouldn't be good. But it would be survivable. And that mattered. He opened his eyes. The suns were still there. Bright. Close. Unmoved. They hadn't learned anything. Hou Yi exhaled slowly. I tried warning you, he mumbled. This was avoidable. He raised his bow and drew again. The third sun fell. Clouds gathered for the first time in months. Not rain. Just the sky remembering how to breathe. He fired again. The fourth sun fell. Wind returned, weak at first, then steady enough to move dust and dash. Then the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. Rivers flowed again. The world was already safe. But he kept firing. The eighth sun fell. Only 2 remained. The sky felt wide now, empty in a way it had not been before. Hou Yi stood still. Sighing one last time. Determined, he fired one last arrow. The 9th sun fell. Only 1 remained. Hou Yi lowered his bow. With 1 sun left, the world could endure. With none, it would freeze. The final sun burned steadily. It had been taking a nap. Damn, where did everyone go? Hou Yi stared at the last sun. You better not start acting up, I'm sure you don't want the smoke. It's been a long day. The last sun quickly answered. Yes, sir. It behaved like a good boy. The world survived. People celebrated him as a hero, their stories spreading faster than crops could regrow. Hou Yi had successfully defeated global warming. Heaven watched, and made a decision. Because Hou Yi had crossed a line that could not be ignored. Heaven was not angered by what Hou Yi destroyed. It was unsettled by what he decided on his own. The suns were meant to rotate. To be corrected. To be managed. Hou Yi did not manage them. He slimed them. And in doing so, he decided where intervention ended without being asked. Heaven called Hou Yi. Hey, so, you weren't supposed to slime 9 of the suns. Hou Yi frowned. But you didn't give me instructions, you just told me to fix it, so I fixed the problem. Yeah, you did fix it. That's not the problem. The issue is that you went and decided things on your own. So we are going to have to do something about you. Okay, bye. The connection cut. Hou Yi was shocked. They are going to punish me for doing what they asked? A moment later, he felt his energy draining. What the hell? A mysterious energy was leaving his body. The heavens were stripping him pause of his immortality. Damn, that's how we're moving? When the energy completely left him, he was left standing on the earth. But now just as another man under the sun. I guess that's that, huh? Heaven had made one thing very clear. The world could be saved, but authority would not be shared. Days, weeks, and years passed without disaster. The sky stayed steady and seasons returned. And Hou Yi walked the world like everyone else. No longer above it. Just in it. Unsure what to do with himself, Hou Yi fished. Not because he was good at it. Just because it gave him somewhere to sit and something to wait for. He kept going back. Same river. Same bend in the bank. Hours at a time. Sometimes the whole day. He didn't catch much, but it was peaceful. One afternoon, an old man walked up to him and spoke. You've been holding it wrong. Hou Yi glanced down at his hands. That explains a lot, chuckling. He adjusted his grip. Still nothing. Hou Yi watched the water for a long moment. Ha, he muttered. So this is just how it is. The old man smiled. Let me show you a good spot. He continued to fish with the old man until one day. The old man never came back. He tried farming after that. His back hurt. His hands blistered. The crops grew anyway. Slowly. One afternoon, a woman passed by and laughed at the uneven rows. You plant like you are guessing, she said. Hou Yi wiped sweat from his face. It ain't much, but it's honest work. She raised an eyebrow. You are an odd guy. Laughing. Her name was Chang'e. They built a small house together. Nothing impressive. Just enough. Hou Yi and Chang'e sat outside their house, listening to insects, watching the sky darken on schedule. Chang'e rested her head against his shoulder. I think tomorrow is supposed to be clear, she said. Hou Yi nodded. That's good. They sat there a while longer. Chang'e broke the silence. Do you ever miss whatever you were doing before? Hou Yi thought about it. About the heat. About the noise. About how nothing ever waited for him back then. And about heaven. Not really, he said. Chang'e smiled. Good. She went inside. Hou Yi stayed a moment longer, looking up at the single sun as it disappeared beyond the hills. Hou Yi was now just another man. Living under one sun. He watched the sun rise every morning. And watched it set every night. Hou Yi didn't speak much about the past. There was work to do. Food to catch. Someone waiting at home. Life continued. And that was enough for Hou Yi. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more mythology, folklore, and history content. Have an idea for a video? Leave it down in the comments. Okay, bye bye.